This video is going to work with the Refine Edge command. It's kind of an introductory one, and it shows us when you have a subject with either hair, like women's hair can be sometimes, which is fluffy, or if you have an animal with long hair, the normal selection tools will not do a good job. And so the new Refine Edge command, which in full Photoshop is called Select and Mask, I think. It has slightly different, but it's exactly the same tool. You can follow along, and I'll show you where the work is that was in the September 2nd folder. So, everybody in your Adobe software, go to File, Open. We're going to open in the Refine Edge Practice Images folder, Refine Edge Black Hair Image, and above it, Black Hair New Background. So two of them are going to be opened at once. Click Open. And in Elements, I like to go to the photo bin and notice there are two images there. One is the one we're going to work on, and the other is the one we're going to move this woman to show you how well we have separated her hair from the blue background, so that when we move her to a green background, it clearly shows green through her hair. So the one we need to work on right now is Refine Edge Black Hair. Be sure it's available where you can work on it. If I want it to be hiding, I can put it in like this and let it be tabbed. Doesn't matter which way you use it now. So to do this, we are going to first make a rough selection of this woman and most of her hair. And you'll find that the quick selection tool doesn't like to grab out to the fringe anyway, because it's looking for similar edges. And once you get out beyond the dark part of her hair, it's hard to find edges. So we're going to grab the quick selection tool in the select group, and I put it over her face, and that's too small. It'll make the job last forever. I use the right bracket key next to the P, and I make it just enough bigger that it's going to work on the areas I have for it. So I'm going to drag it with my mouse button down, and you don't have to keep dragging. You can lift your mouse at one point and say, what did I miss? Her hair off to the right side is missed. I can drag it over there till you get the hair. I now missed her hand, so I'm going to click over that. Her yellow and white shirt, I'm going to click on both of those. When I get down to the point where I'm picking little areas, I normally click, don't drag. Dragging is too easy for it to read things outside the limits, because as you move your thing, you don't realize that select tool is actually seeing beyond what you see. So over here, I haven't gotten her left hand. I clicked on it, and what happened was I not only got her left hand and shoulder, I got the blue background between her hair and her shoulder. Can you see it over here? In order to remove it, I have to use a key that changes this add a selection to remove a selection. And guess what good old key it is? Alt on Windows, Option on Mac has turned that into a minus. When I click in the blue area once, Zippo, it takes the solid blue away. And I'm not too worried about the fact that some of the loose hair has been caught. We can fix that with the tool we're going to use. If you want to remove some of that hair that's filmy at the edge, I would get my mouse button smaller, and I would click in there with the Alt or Option key down and remove some of that blue area. I can just click on each one. The next tool will do it, but if you want to remove some, come over here to the hair on the left side as you look at the picture. I can get rid of some of that blue. Okay. If you get rid of too much, it's because your brush is too large. There's one other area that does not belong in the final picture, and that's the blue around her fingers. Can you see it here? In order to properly deselect that, I need to zoom into it. So grab your zoom tool, click on her fingers until they're big enough to see them. Go back to the quick selection brush, come over here and notice that mine is a little bit too big. I want to keep it inside the blue area, so the left bracket key will make it smaller. And now I don't want to add, I want to remove it from the selection. So I hold the Alt or Option key and click once, and it's gone. See the tiny one over here? My mouse button is still too big. I'm going to hold down the Alt Option and click once, and I've removed that nasty area. And up here, I would like to remove some of the blue around the end of her finger and maybe inside the hair. And as long as my brush is small enough, it does a very fussy job. When you're selecting with the quick selection tool, if you're getting more than you want, it means that your selection brush is too large. Make it smaller and you'll find it works better. So I need to see her all over again, so I'm going to go to View and choose Fit on Screen, which is also Control or Command 0 if you want to use your keyboard. So here it is. That's a good start for what I want to do. Whenever I have worked to make a selection, I don't proceed to use it until I normally save it, and I believe this morning I forgot this. My idea is the time I just spent doing that is worth something. I could do a dumb thing and lose it, so why don't I save it? If you'll go up to the Select menu, pull it open, at the bottom you see Save Selection. Click on it and simply type something to tell what you selected. I'm just going to say girl. That's what I selected from that picture. And click OK. I now can take a deep breath, because if I lose the selection, I can load it back. Let me show you how I do it. I can lose that by going Select, Deselect. I hope you wouldn't do it by mistake. I lost all my work. If I go back to the Select menu, see the new thing, Load Selection? If I go in and be sure the selection pull down says girl and say OK, it's back. That's why, and I know Tim Grady always says he can usually find another way to go back, like you could go back in the history and get it. But I find it takes very little time to save a selection, and it never hurts me to have it. It's good to remember that if I intend to keep that selection for future use, this image must be saved as a PSD file. If I don't, it won't save the selection I just saved. So let's go ahead. You've done your selection. You're now wanting to get a better edge around the hair. So what we're going to do is simply go in and go to the Select menu, and everybody is going to find either Refine Edge, or the Photoshop people will find, I think, Select Refine Mask or something that has the word mask in. So if you click on that, you will get a new window, which is the Refine Edge window. This is the magical window that was added in recent versions of Elements, and it's the same really as it is in a full Photoshop. And it's going to help me get the fine bits of hair that we've lost. As you use some of my Refine Edge tutorials, and I gave you several, I also gave you links to YouTube that show you how to use it. You will find people doing a lot of stuff down here. You can choose your own radius. How far out from the hair do I wish to choose? Like I can do this, and I can spread the edge out, and it almost picks it all up for you. In this case, it really does a very good job. But because it doesn't always do a good job, I'm going to bring it back to 0 and show you how to use the edge detection brush. When you have an edge that you can't get well, maybe there is a background that is kind of in the way and you have part of that background with it. If you grab the edge detection brush and tell it to make its own automatic choice of radius, smart radius, come back over here, and you want your brush to be a bit bigger than the area. And as long as the plus mark is over an edge, it will look around that edge for more hair. So I start on the solid hair and I go around and I look for edges. And I can let go. Ooh, I did a little better. But I recall there's more up here than I saw. Oh, yes. If I brush further out, I get more hair. I think there's hair sticking out here. Oh, yes. I can go out until I don't see any more hair that I missed. And then I've adequately picked that section. When I come down here, I do the same thing. You know, I remember there is some hair down here, and as long as I pick it up, ooh, there was a piece way down there, and I let go of my mouse, it has a clever way of picking up the part that matches the black hair and skips what's under it. It is possible at this point to say, I think there's still some blue interfering up here in the hair. If I go over the hair like this, it will reveal some more space through the hair. So sometimes it's worthwhile going back a little bit further and picking it up. And then, because it came from a bright colored background, even though I work hard on this, there may be some color bleeding through. And for that reason, under the output part of this window, it says decontaminate colors. And when I do that, it often helps to just remove a little bit more of the color. If I think that it actually left color, it was my fault, and I can go back and try to pick it up better. Sometimes I didn't do it well enough, and if I see the blue coming through, I just go over it again. But decontaminate colors is a good thing when you've had a very bright background. Now, I missed the little area near the tip of her fingers, and I know there's some hair back there. I'm going to make my brush smaller. It's a bit too big. And I'm just going to run it over that area, and I picked up a little bit of hair back there. Not much, just a little bit. Okay? And then I'm ready to say, I think it's as good. Now, if you go out and you follow the original tutorial that I took this from, you'll find he is very fussy. And he made his job extra hard by not removing the blue from between the fingers. So he removes it later on, you'll see. We removed it first, and then it wasn't a problem for us. So I think I've got it, and the only thing left is, how do I want to output it? And whenever you're moving into another background, it's good to output to a new layer with a layer mask. And when you click decontaminate colors, it jumps and automatically chooses that. If I get rid of the decontaminate colors, originally it had selection. But I know that the best way to move this is to choose a new layer with the layer mask, click OK. So what it does is it puts the image on a new layer, and it has a mask which just shows you the selected part of the image, and it places it on a neutral background. So we've done a great job, and we're ready to move that into the funny green image. So I have to pull this off the tab bar in order to see the green image. Doesn't matter whether you pull left or right. We're going to pull this to the left and land on the green. And when we move it, we're going to hold down the Shift key so that it fits onto the screen completely. So in preparation for moving it, go and grab your Move tool. And then find the Shift key, hold it down, and all I have to do is move from here to there, not far at all. So I grab this and hold down the mouse button, move it over till it's over the green, and I lift my mouse button, and then I lift my Shift key. And if you look, you will see that we did quite a job of selecting away that area. If you have a need to select further, you can repair this by using the mask. Because if you made a big mistake, the mask will let you hide your mistake. Now, we have looked before at how we moved a hard subject to its new background. And we notice that along hard edges, there can be little halos that get in the way. And in this case, there is a bit of a halo where her shoulder meets the green. But we don't see it very well because the green isn't very dark. The darker the area you're moving to, the more you might see it. But just to smooth out the edges here, which we didn't need to do all the fancy selecting with, I'm going to go and make sure I'm working on the mask. So click the mask. I'm going to go and grab a brush. I want it to match the black part of the mask, so I reverse the color so black is on top. I want it to be a soft brush at 100% opacity, but there's something very critical for this technique. The mode of the brush must be overlay. So if you'll pull that down and choose the word overlay, to remind you, I'm not talking about the blending modes. I'm talking about the brush mode. So be sure it's overlay. And now if I'm on the mask, I can go and paint over that area, and let me just make it not too big. I can paint in overlay mode on the mask, and I will smooth out the hard edges that were affected by the selection. And over here around her neck and of her outfit. And it isn't very obvious, but it's always there. I mentioned in one of the other tutorials that if you move something and you select it and you move a selection to a new background, you will almost always have a very poor edge to the selection. And one way to correct that is with this overlay brush to smooth it out. So if this was an image you were working on, you would do the save as, which we have practiced. For us, it's simply an image to work on, so we will close it down without redoing it. So I'm going to close this down. Don't save it. Don't save it. And now I am done.